Right, it is just after 10 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order officially. And Robin, if you would, take roll call for us.
Okay, I'll just go down my list. John,
I'm
Dar,
here.
Dolly Holland,
Present.
Micah Drake,
Here.
Tiffany Reeves,
Here.
Colin Mosley,
I'm here.
Stacy May.
Here.
Julie Thacker,
Here.
Hannah Gregory,
Here.
Jeremy Hurd,
Here.
Kevin Moore,
Here.
Jennifer Hayes,
Here.
Todd Blanton,
Here.
Michael Bushman.
Here.
Okay. All right. And Robin's here too. Thank you, Robin. All right, a couple action items to start with. We got the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting that happened in May 8th.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye, or wave your hand on the screen.
Okay.
Aye. I think that, motion passes. That's why I wasn't here. You took care of it. All right, on, our next one is financial reports for May and June, and I know we got a, updated version of a budget, but, that's the next, okay, so, May and June,
So on the May report, we show at the end of May, we were at 75% expended on our overall budget. We were at 87% expended on the prior year, on our overall. Our admin was at 70% compared to 95 in the prior year. Our adult expenditures were 53% compared to 101 the prior year. Our dislocated worker had spent 58%. Compared to 42% in the prior year. And our youth funds were at 72% compared to 100% in the prior year. And our youth program funds, work experience requirement, was covered through the end of May. And anybody has any questions about May specifically?
just to revise my curiosity, just to remind me, just to let everybody know, my mind is about 50 other places. We're in a 2-year cycle, right? Right now, this May is in the middle of our 2-year cycle, is that correct? Okay, we're in the middle of our 2-year cycle.
Yes, so all the funds that we're talking about that's available to us right now will expire 2025.
Right.
Very
Want to clarify that.
Yes, and then let's see, towards the end of this May report, you can see the actual balances remaining at the end of May on all of our accounts. That's
So then let's
just,
pay your talking about.
yeah, that's just before you get to this one says green balance at the top. It's just before you get to the June report. Yeah, so that's probably one there. So you'll see on there, it shows when the grant started and when it ends. So the very top one is gonna be your youth, then adult, dislocated worker, and then adult and dislocated worker. So there's 2 separate adult dislocated worker grants. And our final balances at the end of the month are, at the end of the month of May are on the far right. And then if you scroll through, you're seeing, oh, wow, we're out of adult funds. Well, at the very bottom, we've got a transfer that, came through from dislocated worker into adult of $500,000 that, is more than enough to carry us through,
And we know those transfers every year, it's allowable under, you know, the, it's not kind of.
yeah, we moved one around December, this last month.
So the bottom, location here, we got like 1 million and change, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That-
Still
that-
have to play with.
Yeah, that's 1 million in the dislocated worker. That's between so you see on the far right, that's your balance in admin, adult, and dislocated worker. It comes out to $1 million, and so it doesn't change. So, Yeah, we're sitting at 1 million there, 300,000 in youth, and we have about 16,000 in adult admin left. So. And then if you want to turn over to June, we're sitting on 88% was spent on our overall budget for the month of June. We were at 92% in the prior year, and our admin was at 78%. That was compared to 100% in the prior year. Our adult expenditures was at 69% compared to 100% in the prior year. And our dislocated worker was at 68% compared to 44% in the prior year. And then our youth expenses were 80%. That's compared to 100% in the prior year. And again, we're parallel. The work experience was covered in our youth program. So we're coming in under budget at the end of the year, basically.
And the fiscal year being June.
Correct. In June 30th of 2024. And then you can see towards the end of this report, those updated rate balances.
Should we be worried about the admin?
No, so we've got more than enough dislocated worker admin and youth admin. It's the adult that you're looking at there. So we did just get our PY, adult grant in as well, and that comes with, they'll have, I think it's about 16,000 or so admin. It'll be more than enough to carry us through. We don't have to charge adult admin on every single thing that we do. But we'll have about 22,000 or so to work with until.
I'm just thinking admin, 20,000, that's not much money.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm thinking about payroll and all.
Right, but you're splitting it between the youth, the adult, and the dislocated worker. Right now, there's just been more focus on adult.
Yeah.
So, and Michael, you and Colin, correct me if I'm wrong. As far as the admin fund goes, it's one of those things that they'll say, well, you know, code more to this, and it still takes care of it fine. There's nothing disallowed with that.
So we combine
Even
admin,
question.
we got money, but if we look at individual admin.
Correct.
Those little, like, cause
Right.
that would pay much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so- I was gonna say the admin, the state recognizes admin actually as one whole pool. So they allow certain areas to draw down like first in, first out. Like you could do we could just book all adult or all youth. We try to be consistent and we split it out based how we allocate just the regular program expenses. So for instance, Tiff's time for, oversight of the program, we go ahead and just split between those three admin pools, adult, educated worker, and youth, just as we would for program expense. Just be consistent. We explain that process in state trainings with the other areas at the state in Frankfurt, and they actually use that back when I was in Colin's position. They use that as a basically example to how to book admin. So the state loves how we book it that way. But again, just to let you know, they just see admin as a pool on its own. But we just split it out based on the allocations.
Okay, yeah, just, I'm just thinking about payroll, I've been doing some of that, I'm thinking that's right.
Yeah, sure.
I think.
For sure. Yeah, so in reality, we're sitting on like, including the, so we've got the youth funds for this upcoming fiscal year has already come in, and part of the adult funding, we're still waiting on the dislocated worker. But on top of all that stuff, we're sitting on like 300,000 in admin, something like that, without this worker that's coming. So
Just,
plus, there's more coming in.
300,000 for an annual, doesn't sound much.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right, but you work for a for-profit company. We are a non-profit program.
We get paid.
And for some perspective, like, for instance, I charge about half my time to WIO admin funds, and the other half is just admin funds. So it's not even related, half my time is
Okay.
on the street, so just depending on who you're talking to.
I can let
they
you
might
guys
have a
think.
little bit, yeah.
Oh, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
Too bad.
But see, we don't, you're not gonna be here. And then what?
He's in 400 seats.
Yeah.
Um,
If it's something we shouldn't be worried about, I'm not worried about it. But we want to make sure everybody gets paid. We appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes.
Report for me and you.
That's all I have for John.
Anybody got anything to add or questions to ask? No questions, I'll look for a motion. I think it's your turn.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mike.
I was waiting for that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Um,
Aye. All right, thank you, Colin.
Yes, sir.
Next one is the revised piece we got, which was the budget. Looks like Mike was on this one.
All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So this is the updated budget. I think we shared our last WIB executive meeting and finance committee meeting when we looked over the budget, but we kind of stated that we would only present if there were, updates in total funding. So Jennifer and Equus, they recognize that in order to kind of operate efficiently in the programs they have in the future, they kind of request an additional 176,000 for their budget. So we went ahead and they sent us their budget back. So I'll just start from the top and just kind of tell you what has changed since the original budget that I presented. So the allocations, it's still the same 3.3 million. But just to let you know, I did move 600,000 from just a catered worker to adult in a transfer that we have upcoming, just to kind of show what we're going to need for the future fiscal year. Carryover was updated to actual. Since we presented budget based off of April numbers, we had estimates here. So this FY24 carryover was updated to actual. And then speaking of actual, the far right column, the first time I presented was projected, and then I updated this far right column with the actual expenses for the fiscal year. When Equus sent us their budget back, what I also did, this number here, this 1.413 million for the operating cost, again, that is just Bluegrass ads. That's just what we have here for everyone at ad staff in the building. This number has not changed whatsoever. What I did change, though, is the percentages that we're billing to adult, educated worker, and youth based on the allocations that Equus gives us. We do this every year. When Kevin was with Equus, I used to bug him and ask him how many enrollments and whatnot we have, and so we would update our billing and our allocation method based off of that. So just to be consistent, I went ahead and updated our section for those new numbers. So again, the total did not change whatsoever, but these individual programs, adult, educated worker, and youth, did change based off of that. Again, Equus did update their budget. So the program delivery costs and one-stop opera costs were updated by Jennifer and her staff. We do have a new total, and I apologize, I had that written down over here. For the WIOA funds, we do now have a new total of 1.86 million. Again, this is just the program delivery and the one-stop operator. So everything has been updated for our carryover. So our new carryover, to your question, John. So again, this is funds that will carry over into the fiscal year 25 or 26. We're estimating about 800,000. So again, that's about half of our allocation that we're going to roll into the following fiscal year. That's what we're kind of estimating here. But everything else is fairly consistent with the first budget. If there's any individual questions you all have, I can go through individual line items or anything like that. But those are the big main talking points.
And the reason that they requested the additional is when we gave them the planning numbers, and they did their staff and the operating costs, we were outside that 50-50 split, right? 50% on staffing, 50% on client services. So that's what it'll take, and we just pulled from what we had that reserve, right? To take and make that's why there's the adjustment.
Yes, yeah, our original estimated reserve was 1.3 million. So yeah, we did have plenty of funds to make that 50-50 split, like Tiff said. Yeah.
Yeah, with this projected budget, the carryover for after our 25 is still 800,000 plus. Is that what we're thinking? Is that what I understand?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you want to have a good carryover. Every year we're supposed to have our allocations July 1st for our first round, and they're usually late. And then on top of that, the first round of July allocations are pretty small. For instance, the youth grant is probably only like 150 to 200,000, and the dislocated worker grant is not much bigger. It's maybe 400,000. And so we have to continue services and operate off of that until we get our large allocations in October. So you do want to have some carryover since these are 2-year grants, just to continue, operations without, any interruptions. So basically, we do want to have a decent carryover.
Right. I like it.
Yeah, because listen, we don't want to be some of the other areas that come April, they're saying, yeah, we can't provide you any services because we're out of money.
Right.
And that happens a whole lot. So.
Yeah. And, things come up too where, we're waiting on transfers. Again, it's 100% allowable, but sometimes the state, they have follow-up questions or whatever. We just want to make sure we have enough funds in each program, just so we don't have any pauses and lapses in services.
Right. That's what I'm looking at, like a buffer, buffer for problems or delays.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I like it, just as we get these reports monthly, just make sure we keep up to date. I think it's all good. Oh, you have questions? Micah?
I'm good. Looks good.
Any more to add, Michael?
No, yeah, if anyone's in specific questions.
Micah, you chimed in at the same time Michael started speaking. What was that,
Oh,
sir?
Sorry, I thought you said Mike and not Michael. Sorry, I apologize.
Motion.
I definitely don't have anything to talk about for that, no.
Good shit.
Any other inputs or questions?
Make a motion to approve adjustment.
Don makes a motion, Micah, do you second that? He does.
I will second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And thank you, Micah. Transfer VR. Jeremy.
So I was looking at a better way for us to transport our VR devices and one of the guys from Transfer VR actually suggested this company called Redbox VR. They make a customized hard case, like a travel case, has wheels. It's designed specifically for these devices. It'll hold 5 of them, which is convenient because that's what we have. They have form-fitting foam inserts.
That's what I'm thinking, like yeah.
Yeah, so everything fits in there perfect. The other really nice thing that it has is it has a built-in charging box in it. So when you put them in there, you plug them all in, and then all you have to do to charge all of them at the same time is just plug the case into the wall, and they all charge. So it will of course provide us extra protection for the devices. It'll make them easier to transport. It'll also look better because right now we're carrying them around in old Adna backpacks.
Because I was gonna say, it's $25,000 worth of equipment getting carried around in backpacks.
Yeah, we're carrying them around in,
What you just described, I'm thinking, why did that not come?
Well-
specifically?
yeah.
So if you wanna know what we look like, we're carrying 5 backpacks in our bag, carrying them going to school, then when we get there, we're trying to figure out which one is the one.
Yeah, three are bright green and 2 are brown. So this will,
It's in the,
the picture of the boxes in there.
looks a lot nicer.
Yeah, they're really solid cases.
Yeah, I mean, that should be with the system.
and yeah, like Jeff said, we're carrying around, we pay $25,000 a year for these things and we're carrying around in $5 backpacks. So we need a better system.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't pay attention to when you brought them out there, but I remember the backpack, and I
Yeah.
always suggested that.
I just hate that we've waited this long to even
Yep.
to think about it, and I didn't really realize that this company existed or that they made such a thing. But I know you can, there's always companies out there that make custom cases, but they're usually very, very expensive. So when I saw this price, I was actually a little encouraged.
But it's interesting that Transfer VR
Well,
sends you to another company that makes
Well,
a custom case.
because they're just looking at them. They don't even have them.
Yeah.
But he was telling me this because they are looking at getting some to try out for their end of it. And I was like, well, we could get our own and just. So we may actually get them before transfer if proven.
We would need two of these, right?
No, just one.
No, just one.
Well, I got 5 units.
Yeah, 5
We have 5 units.
I thought we had 10. I think we need 10. So this thing-
That would've been 10 backpacks.
That's a lot of backpacks.
I need a whole other wheel card for that.
Usually 2 people going to the event would be.
Yeah.
How much is a wheel case? Suitcase handle?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, for future thought, we need two of these. And the deal fill them up. Yeah.
That's really all I have on those. Just,
So we're looking for a approval to purchase this and not hard.
Yeah.
Colin and Michael, we're good to do this, right? We get adequate funds for this. That's what I figured, that's what I think. So I'm acting chair, so Micah or Dolly, we're looking for a motion to approve, what,
I'll make a
$30,000?
motion.
Thank you, Micah.
3550.
Yeah, plus that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's, well, there's also, I was reading on there's also
There should be
shipping.
no tax on it.
Yes,
So that's 36.
Longer to get.
Yeah.
Right.
yes.
So.
But there is
Micah,
shipping.
Micah, you got, for 4,000 roughly? Micah, are you good for 4?
Yes, sir.
All right, so $4,000 budget approval for whatever it takes to make sure these things are right.
Second.
Second, all in favor? All right. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Informational items, we got, grant update, Kim.
So we got our first allotment for those youth funds, right? Jennifer has been interviewing. I think she has 2 excellent candidates. The youth funds are the legislative funds that we got. I've updated, y'all may have forgotten, Bluegrass got, 1.2 million to do in-school youth project. Right.
But you gotta remember, my mind is mush.
Yes, yes.
I remember that now.
And it was one of those things, cause this is the very first time that any of the local areas have ever gotten legislative funds. So we wanted to make sure that everything worked out, that started coming through before staffing and all that. Kevin, I was supposed to go one day, but I wasn't able to, but Kevin went and presented to all the JAG programs, really for almost the entire state, didn't you?
Yeah.
About partnering with them. Every single county that we're looking at doing these in-school youth projects with, they have a JAG program already in their school system, except for Nicholas County, and we're connected with the family resource there. Right? The whole goal of these youth funds is just to get them employment. If they're a career, if they're wanting to go to college, then they're not gonna be, right? We're not gonna spend these youth funds on them. It's to get those kids that are not interested in college. One of the things that whenever, Kevin presented, I know that we had discussed with JAG is how we can bring employers in, just like we did, with Angel and all that, but so we'll be hollering at you, cause now it's gonna
Jack's
be.
already on there already, so.
Well, good. And then we are still waiting on to hear anything about the grant with the Kentucky Rural Water Association that we partnered with UK. I reached out the other day to Donna. She said no news is good news, right? But we won't know about that until September. That's about the only two big projects. Right,
What's the timeframe on this 1.2 in legislation?
2 years.
Okay.
2 years, so, and like, cause you know, we're building a plan as we go with this, but the plan is to provide workshops. We have, Velsoft is this, I don't know, it's not a program, it's not a computer program, it's actually like,
It's like training.
it's training materials, yeah, training. There's an emotional intelligence one, we have our access, we're looking at doing a customer service training. Which technically, we're looking at having every single participant that we enroll or work with do a customer service training. Because there's not a job that you don't have to have good customer service. I almost put that as those essential skills that you need to.
Disagree with that?
Yep. And then we'll have employers come in, we'll get them connected with work-based learning opportunities in the fields that they're interested in. That's the whole goal of that youth money, and that's how I see it playing in my head. Will we have to pivot and adjust? Probably, you know what I mean, but we'll get it figured out, and we will update you all at each meeting on how the funding's going, how many's enrolled with it,
Yeah, I was wondering, you know,
and all that.
Jim's got two,
Uh-huh.
and, you know, for a 2-year time period, how many can we service with that?
Well, the previous interim director threw the number of 200 kids each year. So we will be doing 200 kids each year. Now,
Now,
here's the thing, wait just a
What you
minute,
gonna do with, I mean, that's a
wait
lot.
just a minute.
That's a lot.
So, but you have to stop and think, we have some of our kids that all we need to do is a workshop in their classroom, show them how to do a resume, and get them a direct hire position, because we do that all the time. That's what business service team does.
Not for a year.
Right? It is. It is. It's a
Think about the
challenge.
JAG population.
Oh, the entire state, it should be 4,000. It's supposed to be 4,000 kids. But for Bluegrass alone, it's 200 each year.
There's 17 counties, so.
Yeah, but how many are active in JAG though?
Right.
Oh, now look, here's the thing, like, we're not just saying they're gotta be 100% JAG. We're gonna work with those JAG counselors. But if we've got some kids over here on the side, we're not gonna say, no, we're not gonna spend this money because you're not in JAG. Right? But JAG is our quick and fast way in the door. So,
I'm just afraid of that 200 number.
Well, one thing, you know, you don't have the WIOA rules
oh, yes.
with this money.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're gonna be able to qualify more in-school youth than you would before. So.
Yeah, because there's no, not going to college, high school senior, not going to college. That's the only, with this legislation money, that's the only barriers that you got. Now, when you know, you're talking about your WIOA, if they're in school youth, they have to be low income and have to have an additional barrier, right? So that is tricky, and you have that with your WIOA funds, you can only spend 25% on them anyway. But yeah, on this, where there's no barriers connected with it, I'm excited, I'm a little nervous, right, about it, but I still think that we'll be able to do it.
Well, another outreach that I'll suggest for that is, I've got Great Tech Education, asking me to set up a meeting with them next week or within the next couple of weeks to talk about their new training director. And Great Technical Education is vocational
Yep.
studies, ATCs.
Yep.
So that linkage needs to happen with this program to make that 200 number per year.
Yeah.
Sustainable. That's
Get us connected.
yes.
Whenever you meet with them, be sure and mention, you know.
Mary Taylor is asking me to meet with the new training director, unnamed. It's Mary Taylor and David Long.
You're right. That's all I have.
I mean, I like what I'm hearing. I'm worried. Hell with the
We'll
numbers.
get it. I'm telling you, we'll get it.
All right. Okay, data validation, yeah.
So, well, along with this is the state monitoring. So the state monitoring is due today, but Hannah turned it in yesterday.
Hey, there you go.
Got it all straightened out.
You showed the gun show over there, you see.
So, but through the data validation that we were doing, it of course raised questions about where they're getting items from the Pearl, or for the Pearl, I mean. So we sent back
I have
questions.
one question.
Yeah,
The Pearl is the federal reporting
Okay.
report that
I
is.
was wondering what that was.
yeah.
Right,
I think Pearl, you didn't know what that was.
right.
So, but as you're going through and then they're showing something and either we have it or we don't, or they're saying we do, and it's just like, well, where did you get that? Like, not everything is spelled out about where the system is pulling that information for that report. So we sent back questions along with whatever we validated and said, this is all correct the way we have it, but there were a few that we were like, I don't understand where you're getting this from in the system. Because the way the system's set up, a lot of it is connected with uploads and certain questions, the way they're answered, that get pulls into the state report. But, you know, when the Department of Labor is telling you statistics, like that 35% of the students, of the youth in the state of Kentucky, only 35% of the students, the youth enrolled in Kentucky have a barrier. And it's like, well, that can't be right, because to be a youth, you have to have a barrier. So it should be 100%. So obviously the youth numbers and the way the system for data validation is not correct. So,
DOL is still questioning Key Sweep somewhat, because the reports that are being sent in on our performance, for our performance metrics, right? There's questions, hence the data validations. Everything should pull from the same place, right? And if you're a youth and you've obtained a credential, it should pull the same way. And the state did request, right, that each of the local areas do a sampling of data validation. Not sure if they like that, because now the areas are realizing that it's not all of it, that there are issues with some of it not pulling correctly. Biggest thing about that is whenever that is pulled, it goes to DOL, that affects what our performance measures are. So yeah.
so like with most things with the state, got more questions than answers.
They have, and we had a call. We had a call with DOL, Miss Warren, she was super nice. The same questions she asked this time were the same questions she asked whenever Amy was director, and we had the call. So yeah.
And we'll give information on, when we get the reply about state monitoring, then we'll go over
So I think this is gonna be a constant conversation.
the data validation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Keep you spend what we talking about.
Since I've been
Your numbers.
involved.
Yeah, because listen, we track everything on separate spreadsheets and everything, so that whenever Rachel comes back or whoever, I think it'll be Miss Jackson now, comes back and says, well, you all didn't hit metrics, okay, this, and this. We have learned trial by fire. Keep all your documentation, keep your emails, have a whole lot of per hour conversation emails whenever you talk to somebody. So, there you go.
That's Mr. Jackson, that's the one that was just Bible. Okay. Just Bible, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were on the call.
I was.
Yeah.
I know her now, but anyway.
She's different.
It's not here to have fun.
Her response to, Dolly, you were on the call, whenever we were talking about how to increase our, youth exits to employment, you know, you can exit to post-secondary as well, right? Her response was, are you exiting in the post-secondary? Well, only if they want to go to college.
Mhm.
If they don't want to go to college, then we can't exit them to post-secondary. But that was the suggestion she had. That was it. Okay.
Yeah, like I would have called it. I think by the book is probably the best Official say they make that clear.
Yeah.
On sidebar, we might say open space. Any questions from our, group about, Kevin's and then, Tiffany's added information here? All right, moving on. We got Tiffany up again, talking about our, staff training day, 7/26.
Yeah, and we just had our all-staff training on 7/26. Whenever we do those all-staff training days, it's to go over anything that we found in our internal quarterly monitoring. Any changes that we're planning on, doing with this program year and all that. And we just want to update you all that we had it done, it went successful. I think it was a very good one. On this one, there was a lot of feedback back and forth. I always love it whenever, the DSP staff has opinions and they're quick to say, hey, look, let's look at this, or I got this idea. So it was really good. This one was. So that's all I got on that. Just wanted to update you all that we had done it because we do it every year.
Okay. Jennifer, haven't got to see you in a while. Where you at? I need to see her on the screen then.
She got her camera turned on.
When she
I'll
turns it
give
on-
quick camera
There she is.
and then I'll turn the camera off because of my internet. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
And it's really because we make, when she turns it to my bedroom.
I've been made fun of way too many times on these calls. But I'll give you a quick update on the June report, and it also includes a few year-end numbers. But to sum it up, we landed right where we needed to land for enrollments for the year. We had budgeted, and our goal was to enroll between 100 and 150, depending on, sometimes we spend more on participants, sometimes less. So we landed 121, which is right where we wanted to. Our exits and credential numbers, they also were right where we wanted to be at the end of the program year. So no issues there. On our outreach and our meetings, we continue to be on the ground serving all 17 counties. We have designated library time in 13 of our counties. We're connected with adult eds in all 17 counties. We still work really close with a handful of recovery centers like Shepherd's House, Isaiah House, Primary Purpose, Spark Ministries, Hope Center, Lighthouse Ministries. So a handful of recovery centers we're still working close with. And then I just pulled some quick numbers while we were on this call, but I had sent Tiff some of our outreach numbers and community partner numbers for the end of the program year. And so for the year, we had 72 community partners that we were able to report out on that you don't see on this form here. But that's a huge number. 72 community partners that we work with ongoing is a pretty big number for our counties. And then we had 37 new outreach partners listed for that year-end report. So I think that's reflective of the good work that our staff's doing and the connections that they're making out in the communities. And then I'm jumping all over the place, so this doesn't follow incorrect, but I wanted to give you guys an update on two special projects that we have going on. And one is Estill County CDL initiative. And so we partnered with BCTC, and we decided to specifically serve Estill County residents on this project. So we identified 5 individuals that were interested in CDL training, and we enrolled them. We got BCTC on board to bring their training to Estill County. That is major. And so we've never done that before. So that class starts on Monday, August the 12th. And so BCTC is going to be there training at 5 CDL guys and gals for 4 weeks. So that's one project that we've been working on over the past few months. And then the Army Depot, I wanted to give you all just some numbers on that. But I pulled the spreadsheet, and it looks like we've worked in some capacity with 52 job seekers from there. And that may just have meant that we've been on a phone call with them, that we've helped them with a resume. It could be big or small. We've enrolled a handful and we've paid training for a few. The reason we haven't enrolled a ton yet is because the vast majority don't have their actual layoff date yet. So they're not interested in leaving their job before their layoff date because most of their layoff dates are 2025. But we've enrolled and paid for training for a few. But we continue to do, meetings with them, resume building, etc. And then we've got a couple job fairs listed, and I know Todd will review those in his report, but staff were on site, Danville Housing Authority for a job fair. And then they provided workshop at Harrison County Housing Authority. And then we participated with Bluegrass Community Action for their Father's Fest during the month of June. And then all of the business contacts are listed. And then the best part is that we have 5 participant success stories at the end of the report, and then 1 economic development highlight. So I know that you guys always like those success stories. So we've been increasing those. And one reason that they've increased is because TIF is giving away massive prizes. So they're competing for those. So anyway, that wraps up the report if you guys have any questions.
And some of the other numbers that she was talking about, you all will get the year-end report.
Yeah.
Join your training. Stacy's been working really hard on that. Me and her have a meeting tomorrow to go over the last little bit of it.
Yeah, it's always great to hear success stories
Yeah.
and, engagements that we're seeing. It was celebrate those at the big meeting. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, sir.
Apparently nobody got questions, but yeah, thank you. So now, who's up? That would be Mr. Bland.
I'm up. So in your packet, you'll find my June report. Each month, we put down how many referrals we're getting into the program, the number of in-person phone calls we get. That referral number is back to the levels that we were seeing back in 23, 22. I mean, it's
Now, what time frame is on these? That's 2027.
it's just
One month?
1 month between the 4 brick and mortar offices.
That's awesome.
This office here is by far the busiest, but we're seeing 80 people in Georgetown a month. We're seeing 50 and 60 people in Danville and Georgetown. So, I mean, the numbers are slowly coming back up, but that referral number there, I mean, that's back to the level that we were at, back in the end of 22, when the program was just going crazy. And I really think we'll see more in July, honestly, just based on what I knew early. Had a couple of rapid responses with the Bluegrass Army Depot, some employer meetings with Temper Sealy and Gincana. I've listed out all the hiring and VR events that we did in the month of June. We didn't record any community resource or business minutes in June, but we have recorded a few in July and also in August. Those Bluegrass Army Depot rapid responses, there's gonna be an ongoing thing. They let Rolly know when they've got another wave. I think we've done, 7 now, Rolly?
Yeah, I have to go back and look at something.
I think we've done 7 now. And then some stuff that's not on the report. So I don't know how much you guys are familiar with, but when we had the layoff, we had some vacant space in Richmond. VR needed to be in Richmond, so we offered them the space. Adult Ed needed some space in Richmond, so we've offered them the space. We've just been letting them use it in kind while we've been working on a lease. We finally got a lease. It's been signed by David. It's been sent to the secretary for signature. So they will start paying for that space that we've been kind of letting them use in kind. Kentucky River Foothills occupied the other half of that building that we were in Richmond. They moved out back in March, I believe, and it's up for lease right now. I met with Dr. Gregory from Adult Ed about 2 weeks ago down there to look at the space. He's indicated their interest in taking one of the vacant areas. We've already had some meetings and talks earlier next year with OBR and with Adult Ed. So now that we're gonna have a lease in place, we're going to all come back to the table and talk about the ad potentially taking the entire first floor space of the Richmond office that we're in. Adult Ed would occupy 25% of it, VR would occupy 25% of it, and then there'll be a common shared space. It's got a conference room and some offices. So it would give us a lot more space to grow into. It would give VR some space to grow into and also adult ed. But the first step was really getting that first initial lease done. So when we've got that back, we'll probably be having a meeting to talk about the additional space, figure out what costs will look like. I told Tiff, based on what I know down there, we'll pay about 24% of the total space. So our part will probably not increase by that much, but the labor cabinet, education labor cabinet, taking so much more, their costs will go up. It'll just give us a bigger space and a bigger footprint in Richmond, honestly.
Yeah.
And then, an update on the certification for Lexington. I did get the ADA compliance, letter back from the state. That was one of the things that had to be done prior to us even kind of moving forward. There was a couple of recommendations that we already knew. One was, automatic door openers for the front door. That's not gonna keep us from submitting that certification letter. We've already worked on getting a few members for our review team. So I'm gonna guess sometime by September, we'll have a meeting with the review team and everybody. But that's about it.
Any questions for Todd? Thanks, sir. All right, so we got Tiffany back up at current workshop program.
Yeah, and I'll let, Kevin and really hop in on some of this on me. Some of the things, because one of the big things that I talked about in, whenever I wanted to become director was doing cohorts and looking at our high demands, right? So we've got Estill County, right, with our CDL, that's transportation.
Yes.
We have a call, on, is it the 15th, with Cable Academy, to do a cybersecurity training. Cable Academy is not like the like coders, by any means. If they don't find the individual's jobs, we don't have to pay them. Right, so I like that really good, and they are a very well-known cybersecurity training facility. We've also been looking at the OSHA, trying to do a training cohort where individuals would receive their OSHA 10 certification and forklift training. And then that makes them more desirable for advanced manufacturing. Really, I just was gonna have a meeting tomorrow with possibly, to begin with, I know that we'll just be posting jobs for, but to do in childcare. Cohort to where the individuals would go through the childcare council and get their CDA, and then we would do work-based. What else am I forgetting? I know on the 22nd, me, Kevin, Rolly, Jennifer, Crystal, and Todd have a meeting of putting pen to paper exactly everything that we want to get done. This program year, we've talked enough, right? We have talked enough. So it is time. This is step 1, this is step 2, who's doing it and where we're going. Have I forgot anything?
I don't think so. Me and Tiff did a meeting with, Duncan Bradstreet.
Yeah.
And Michelle DeJohn, they're at the state, so they have a reporting system called Duncan Bradstreet. And I guess it compiles financial data, and, I guess Bluegrass is the only one they got done, like, so they have this new dashboard that they want to go over with us. I don't know what the meeting's gonna be about. I think it's just trying to teach us about it, or what we can use, how we can utilize that program. But it's just something to keep in the radar, because I don't know how we fall into it yet. But it's more of like a financial program that kind of lets us know how a company's doing. So if a company's going down under, how can we step in on the workforce side and say, hey, look, it looks like you guys aren't doing so well, let's have some workforce discussions, or, but the only area that they really have done is Bluegrass, as far as our dashboard with companies we're working with. I think we're a little bit more, proactive in the Bluegrass area with the way that they pull the reports.
And then one of the things that, Kevin's been working on, like Todd mentioned, you have 130 referrals, why we want to help every single person. We don't have funds to do.
Yeah.
We can help them in one way or another, right? Like, we might not be able to help with training funds, but we can help them get a direct hire position, interview, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But, Kevin's been looking at aspiring minds and ready for industry, trying to figure out a way, right or wrong, to figure out those that are the ones that need it the most. Or though, I don't know how to word this the politically correct way, or those that's just, well, I think I might wanna get my CDLs and
Yeah.
go on the road, right?
Yeah, so Jennifer and I were talking about, add the possibility of adding like another assessment, aspiring minds in the process of people because, at the end of everything, you gotta have people that are committed. And so, the aspiring minds does give good information too on, the capabilities they might have as an entry level person. So, to be able to add that with the report that it puts out is really good at building the case for their need, but at the same time, trying to slow some things down because like Ty, you look at the referral numbers and they're through the roof.
Yeah.
And you can't meet with everybody, that put on there, people will cancel, of course.
Mhm.
But, it's just so much that to try and make sure you're getting the good candidates, maybe adding one more step to help us with the outcomes at the end, because second and fourth quarter outcomes are gonna become very important. So.
Yeah, and can I add one more thing to that, Kevin?
Yeah,
And to put this in perspective for everybody, like John and them at the table, our referral numbers are basically back to where they were a couple years ago. And a couple years ago, we had a $4+ million budget. And this year we have roughly a $2 million budget. So we're getting the same amount of referrals with half the budget. So there's just no way to say yes to everybody right now. So what we're doing is just pushing out appointments. We can't meet with you today. We can meet with you a couple weeks from now. There's just no way to serve everybody on half the budget we had 2 years ago. We got 2 million now and the same amount of referrals. So we have to be strategic in how we spend it for sure.
Makes sense.
That's how we got.
I like it.
Very good.
I would like to have one extra piece of information, because I wasn't here, and, the SETA Lexington Day, just a little spill on how that went, go over there.
Listen, I think it went wonderful.
I think all of us in this room were in there.
Yeah.
With the exception of Todd, I think Todd was feeling.
Yeah. I think it went really well. Amy had a lot of good speakers of different things that were going on, in the areas.
There's actually a spotlight on the setup website if you want to look at it. It's a review.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. The one thing that, I will say, and we've got to wait to some stuff this calm a little bit, because we do have a lot of things going on. I'd like to figure out how to wash, rinse, and repeat John Sword's New Americans program, for the bluegrass. What they are doing is they have such a large population of New Americans there in Bowling Green that they have an individual who knows how many
What's the word you're using?
New Americans.
New American.
New Americans, it's
That's a phrase I've not heard put together.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first time here.
Yeah, how many different languages did their lady?
I think she speaks 3 different languages, but she doesn't speak Swahili.
Right, but the big thing is there's a lot, of individuals from Congo that
Here.
are here. So we gotta figure out how to help those, right? But no, Secretary Brindley gave a very good, presentation on, I guess like the state plans for,
Bob Knight was there.
yeah. Yeah. So we think it went pretty good. I'm hoping that, cause when's Amy's
Next June.
term up? Hopefully whoever gets it after her, will continue it, cause I think it was very beneficial. So,
Pretty good turnout. That was probably about 50 years ago there.
yeah, but the green beans were nasty.
That was gonna be my input. Like, the one thing I can say is that those green beans were absolutely
That
terrible.
was my only complaint about the food.
Green beans I've ever had.
So the story behind it is that Jimmy Amy's husband said that the green beans are so good you can drink the juice off of it. Like you can just get a cup and just drink it. Well, we get up there, we're thinking this thing is gonna look like,
I'm thinking white half runners with fat back and all that stuff in them.
we get in there, and it look like they just peeled it off a can and just poured it in there.
It was like, I think they just soaked it all in butter and called it a day. It was nasty.
garlic in there.
Ugh.
What was it hard or?
They only ate.
No, they were cooked.
Okay.
But we
That's
threw
the
it
best
away.
canned
and
green
everything
beans I've ever had.
But Mike over there's cracking up, cause he knows what good green beans are, don't you, Micah?
It's the best seasoned and green beans.
Yeah.
Usually not straight from a can, no.
But, yeah, Amy did a wonderful job.
But the brisket and chicken was delicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. The rest of the food was actually very good.
Yeah.
Those green beans, man.
But yeah,
What was the one we did, I guess it's Louisville, the one that we did, and Amy was.
that was the actual full setup.
Yeah, full set, but that's the only complaint, she asked me what any complaints, I said, the green beans are nasty. That one.
So I think green beans are one of those tricky things.
People are very picky about the green beans, they
Yeah.
don't serve them anymore.
That's a southern thing, right?
Yeah.
Green beans gotta be served wet.
Shoot, green beans are supposed to be healthy, they cook that thing of bacon grease and put some bacon in it.
But I did come off the state board on June 30th,
They kicked you out.
2 years were up.
And then it'll go to, who was all on the state board then, which states? Kentucky, I think it was Georgia.
I think I was still the only private sector
Okay.
representative.
Because then they, like,
It rotates through all the states.
yeah, whichever 4 states is on it for this to, the other 4 states will be on it, so it'll come back around and,
I just wanted to get some information on that, no,
And I think last time I talked to her, we had 40 and not 40 plus new members. For seven.
from that event. That's
Yep.
good, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, anybody got anything extra they wanna add? Special comments, information requests? So, no, keep you here all day, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Mike, are you seconding that one?
I guess I'll second that one too.
All right, thank you, Micah. Thank everybody for being here. See you, when is our next meeting, probably? Let's make sure everybody's good.
when's the finance?
The finance one is the 29th, I think, of this month.
Yeah, then our big ones are coming up, right?
Yeah, then our joint one is September.
September 26th, that's
26th,
the,
yeah.
and just remind me, where's that located? Is that gonna be?
It's gonna be at KCTCS in
Versailles.
same place
Versailles.
that we had that Saturday.
Yeah,
So our next executive committee meeting is gonna be in November.
okay. Good. All right, so I hope to see everybody in September. Come on. With that, thank you guys for being here. Let's you guys get out of here. What?
Do you have to like officially?
Oh, we're adjourned. Yeah, we had a motion to, and a second. And a finish. Everybody in favor? Everybody in favor? All right. Thank you. Now we can get out of here. See you guys.